I am very exhausted. Hi, it's Joseph here, and as you guys can see in the background, please ignore this. Please ignore this. I'm currently packing and getting ready for my trip to Japan and Korea, literally starting tomorrow, and I have a lot of stuff to film for you guys. We're going to be hitting a lot of arcades and maybe some FGC stuff if I can get things squared away, but what's most important is that video is not going to drop until May, right? Like that post-production is going to be a pretty lengthy cycle, knowing me. So I hope you guys can hold over until then, which is why I'm doing this video now. There's a lot I want to talk about. There's a lot that's been going on this week. It's been very tumultuous between the tariffs, between the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct and the pricing and the fallout of everything. Like, and then there's the DMC anime, which is like, that's a video in of itself. That anime was... it was something, but it's been crazy, right? So I don't want to hold you guys for too long. I just want to give you guys a little treat, just something to nibble on while I prep and get ready for the big video coming up in May, which I want to do more of. So let's kick things off talking about my thoughts on the Nintendo Switch 2. And I have to say, I am conflicted. The Switch 2 Direct overall was solid. There was like a lot of great games. I thought Dust Plugs looked fantastic. Damon X Machina 2, I'm beyond ecstatic for. And the first party lineup was solid. Metroid Prime 4 has like mouse mode, which is going to be pretty hype. Kirby Air Riders is just dope. I just think it's just dope that Sakurai gets to work on his baby again. That's awesome to see. Donkey Kong Bonanza is going to be fantastic. I'm hoping. I mean, it's by the Super Mario Odyssey devs from the looks of like the visual art style and everything, and I like the voxel based platforming, which is like kind of a unique take. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a fun little game. And then lastly, of course, Mario Kart World. The game looks fantastic. I got nothing else to say. It looks mwah. I love the amount of characters and costumes and everything. Like it's gonna be a good time. Everything else about the Direct I had gripes with, I won't lie. Like some of the third party lineups, it was nice, and then the game prices started trickling out, and that's when it got bad. That's when things started falling through. So walk with me. This is going to be a little bit of a history lesson. We got to go back to the era of Switch 1. I want you guys to listen and hold on to this. Mario Kart World cost $80. Donkey Kong Bonanza cost $70. The prices are not making sense on both ends of the spectrum. On one hand, I get DKB costing $70 because it's a AAA Switch game. Fair, we can all shake. Tears of the Kingdom this is like their Mario Odyssey, but DK, all that jazz, $70 makes sense. I'm okay paying $70. $80 for Mario Kart World, that's not making any sense. I literally don't know where they're getting the price from, right? Like I even if you try to break it down and like, say, well, Mario Kart's just more popular, whatever, it's not making sense. It doubly doesn't make sense when you consider the fact that the Switch 2 box-in title, bundled title, is Mario Kart World. So again, where is this $80 figure coming from? It's not adding up. So as we moved through the games, we go to the Switch 1, these upgrade packs. The upgrade packs, of course, are these paid, upgrades to the Switch 1 original titles. Of course they are. So some of the games are getting full-on expansion. So Kirby and Forgotten Lands, for example, is getting Star-Crossed Worlds, and that'll be like a whole new set of levels, I'm assuming. A lot of new things to do. Maybe some new copy abilities. I don't know yet. And it's gonna cost you probably $10 to $20. Sure. And then Mario Party Jamboree, another $80 game, also has this new set of mini games and whatnot, featuring the mouse mode, featuring the camera controls and visual upgrades. All of that again costing an extra $20. That's how we get to the $80. That's when I had to start breaking things down. I had to start looking into the prices and figuring out, how are we getting here? Well, one, we know Nintendo Switch games rarely, if ever, go on sale when it's first-party Nintendo titles. A lot of these games stay at that $60 mark for the rest of their shelf life, and I thought that was pretty scummy to begin with, considering the fact that Nintendo used to have selects. They used to have $20 or $40 marked down games on the Wii and 3DS era and whatnot, but for some reason during the Switch, they just stopped doing that, and it's frustrating. It's very, very frustrating. The digital stuff, the rewards, have been kind of getting scaled back. So gold points, for example, are going to start expiring. They're going to stop giving you gold points eventually down the road for your digital purchases. And that sucks because that's how you got a lot of smaller things. Smaller things that are $5 to $10, like Switch 2 upgrades. So now we know why Nintendo's rolling that back. Pretty scummy. Really grade A Nintendo, not a fan. Then we have the vouchers, which they have always flip-flopped with. Like, they would come to the US market, then they take them away, then they came back, and now they're kind of here to stay, kind of not really. Very solid deal, saved you a lot of money, and it was pretty affordable, especially for someone like me, who's like, I only check in on Nintendo because the Switch 1's so underpowered, like, once a year. So like when I get a big release like a Xenoblade 3, I'm like, awesome, and I'll grab Bayonetta 3 or something. Like, I'll grab another game coming out this year on top of it. When Tears of the Kingdom came out, I said, dang, Advance Wars is out, say less. I grabbed both of those, and I'll probably go back and get like Pikmin 4 or whatever, right? Nintendo stripping that away. That's scummy. That sucks. I don't think they should do that. I think that's kind of unfair. So then I started looking at the Switch 1 pricing on Switch 2. And if you read the fine print of a lot of the Switch 1 upgrade games, they tell you that cartridge or Switch 2 cartridge, it is a Switch 1 cartridge with a Switch 2 upgrade voucher, which means you're paying $60 in reality for Breath of the Wild, for example, and then the $10 is a slip of paper that's in that box that gives you a voucher code. You're not really getting a Switch 2 game key or game card. You're getting a Switch 1 card, or maybe it'll say Switch 2 on it with the upgrade voucher inside. I don't have to explain the levels of scumminess that is. The physical upgrades to these particular games and kind of rebranding them and putting them back on store shelves at all is so inept to me, and it makes literally no sense, especially considering the fact that they're already going to sell the Switch 2 voucher cards, like eShop top-ups, on store shelves. It's just confusing for all involved. It's confusing for consumers. It's confusing for Switch 1 owners that are looking to upgrade. It's confusing for Switch 2 owners, because what's the point? You're not really getting a Switch 2 cartridge. You're getting a Switch 1 game with a slip of paper, and it's even more confusing about the pricing, because what are you charging for? I don't I guess they're charging for the $10 slip of paper, but like I don't get it. I don't get it. I feel like it'd just be simpler to just make it free at this point, especially considering the fact that Nintendo announced on their website there will be regular free upgrades. Now, some of which aren't going to be all improvements to frame rates and resolutions, but some are. Again, it just really exposes how greedy they've gone. They've gone full Apple, you know, they've gone full Apple, and I don't know why, and it makes me so angry. But it doesn't explain the hardcore Switch 2 pricing, which is the point. It doesn't explain how Donkey Kong Bonanza is 70 and Mario Kart World is 80, which is the biggest outlier. Like, I don't understand how MK World is hitting that 80 until you think back into the Switch 1. So let's take it back. The Switch 1's lifespan, we had games like Mario Strikers, Mario Tennis Aces, and I believe there was a Mario Golf in there too, right? These games had free updates, but in reality, you're paying $60 for a whole lot of nothing. You got like half a game, and then the full game would kind of like release over the course of a year and a half or 2 years or whatever, and then you would finally get the game you paid for. Moving into Mario Kart World, how are we getting to this price jump? It's simple. Nintendo, I'm pretty sure, is adding a $10 upcharge to any of their live service titles. I think that's the game theory. We're gonna wait till April 17th. We're gonna wait till that direct, but I want this on record. I want you guys to mark my words. Watch when that direct comes out, and they're gonna talk about the pricing. They're gonna talk about why the game's so expansive. They won't exactly say pricing. They're gonna continuously update the game with free content, and therefore that's the Nintendo's justification for it being 80. So just be prepared for that. just I'm warning you now. And if it's not that, they're gonna say, and all physical owners of Mario Kart World are gonna have access to the booster course or something along those lines, the battle pass, whatever they're gonna do, and that's why it's 80. Again, they're forcing this stuff on you physically. You don't have an option. There's no option for Switch 2 owners physical. You must get the Switch 2 version with the upgrades. They're not gonna give you the choice to be like, I just want the Switch 1 game. It's cool, right? I'm literally fine not getting 60. I just want to play the game. No, Nintendo says, heck you, you're gonna play it our way or the highway, right? And that's what they're doing in Mario Kart World. Heck you, you're gonna play it our way or the highway. So I'm very frustrated overall with how Nintendo's handled the situation. I now fully understand Mario Kart World's pricing, and it's still just as frustrating as it was when I heard about it. And I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what the fix is. I don't know what we can do to push back. Like, we can say drop the price. They're not going to. Nintendo's hard stuck on this philosophy. And I can't even say like vote with your wallet, because like, I mean, let's be honest, like, are we even going to be able to afford this thing in the coming months, in the coming years? Especially considering it got delayed due to the tariffs. So I don't know what the solution is. I feel like due to economic uncertainty and the tariffs and everything going on top of just Nintendo fumbling the bag across the world with these releases that I just don't know if the Switch 2 is going to be able to sell well and even do close to what it was doing with the Switch 1, unless substantial changes are made. Until they have a unified paid, you know, rule set, I don't see this thing selling well. I don't see it software wise, anything wise. Maybe for the first year it'll do fine, but like after, no shot. So yeah, thank you guys for coming out. Thank you guys for checking it out. Just want to get that off my chest, you know, quick little rant before I fly off to Japan and Korea. Last thing before I go, I hate the Devil May Cry anime. Gosh darn, the anime sucked. Gosh darn, the anime was bad. Not a fan of it at all. And yeah, that's all. I'll see you guys later. Peace. You guys take care.